Have you ever noticed how life sometimes repeats itself in strange ways? You change cities, you change jobs, you meet new people, but somehow the emotional patterns remain the same. The faces are new, the voices are new, but the feelings are déjà vu. The same excitement, the same pull, the same silence. You tell yourself, I've grown, I've learned. But here you are again, standing in front of someone who feels strangely familiar. You call it chemistry, maybe fate. But what if there's a deeper reason? Carl Jung would tell you this. It's not luck or bad timing. It's your soul trying to get your attention. Jung believed that we attract people who reflect what we haven't yet accepted in ourselves. Every relationship is a mirror, and in that mirror, you meet both your beauty and your shadow. This isn't random. It's a dialogue between your consciousness, the story you tell yourself, and your unconscious, the story you don't yet know you're living. The people you meet, especially those who stir something powerful in you, are characters in that hidden story. They show up to reveal what still sleeps inside you. Some awaken tenderness, others awaken pain, but each of them in their own way is saying, look here, this part of you still needs light. Think about it. Why do we keep falling for the same kind of person? Why do we attract the emotionally unavailable, the overly intense, the distant, the unpredictable? We tell ourselves we want peace, but often peace doesn't feel familiar. We say we crave love, but we chase chaos because chaos feels like home. The human mind mistakes familiarity for safety. If you grew up in emotional distance, you might unconsciously recreate that same distance, not because you want it, but because you know it. If you learned that love equals effort or pain, you might keep finding people who make you prove your worth, because the pattern feels like truth. Jung called this the soul's repetition compulsion, the drive to replay unresolved experiences until they transform into awareness. Life doesn't stop repeating the same lessons until you truly see them. You can leave the person, block the number, burn the bridge, but if you don't face the part of you that created the connection, you'll rebuild the same bridge with someone new. Different name, same energy, and doesn't that feel hauntingly familiar? The truth is this: we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are, or more precisely, what we're not yet aware of being. You attract the unavailable because a part of you fears real intimacy. You attract those who need saving because you've built your worth around being needed. You attract the distant because a part of you doesn't know how to stay when things get real. The unconscious is like a magnet. It doesn't care about what you consciously prefer, it draws in what it recognizes. Until awareness breaks the spell, you'll keep meeting the same archetype in different bodies. And maybe that's why some connections feel electric, not because they're meant to be, but because they're meant to awaken you. Think of the last person who truly triggered you. Maybe they made you feel invisible, small, rejected. It hurt deeply, but what if that pain wasn't new? What if it's the same emotion you've carried for years, just waiting for someone to touch it so you could finally notice? Jung said, what you resist not only persists, but grows in size. The pain you avoid becomes the pattern you repeat. Until you face it, you relive it. Imagine someone ignoring your message. You feel anger, maybe shame, maybe panic. But what if the emotion has little to do with them? Maybe it's your inner child remembering what it felt like to be unheard. Maybe the silence hurts so much because you've spent your life being the listener, never the one listened to. The outer world triggers what the inner world has buried. That's why relationships are such powerful teachers. They're not just about love or heartbreak, they're mirrors that reveal your emotional architecture. And here's the paradox. The moment you begin to understand this, everything shifts. You stop blaming and start observing. You stop asking, why did they do this to me? And start asking, why does this feel so familiar? That question changes everything, because it brings the power back to you. It turns pain into insight. It transforms chaos into clarity. The person in front of you is no longer the villain or the savior, they're the mirror. Jung said that the journey of the self is the journey from projection to integration. Projection is when you say, "They made me feel this way." Integration is when you realize, "They helped me see what was already inside." When you take ownership of your patterns, you stop living the same script. You start writing your own. That's what Jung called individuation, becoming whole by integrating the parts of yourself that you once rejected. It's not about becoming flawless. It's about becoming real. Your shadow, the anger, jealousy, fear, insecurity, isn't your enemy. It's your depth. Those parts carry your story. When you meet them with compassion instead of shame, they soften. Your anger becomes your boundary. Your envy becomes inspiration. Your fear becomes intuition. Your loneliness becomes the doorway to self-connection. Everything transforms when you stop running from yourself. So how do you break this cycle? What Jung called repetition compulsion is exactly this: the unconscious tendency to relive the same scenario, the same pain, the same disappointment with different people. It's like a cassette player, replaying the same song with different actors. Maybe every time you say, "This time will be different," but the outcome is the same. This is what we call an emotional cycle, a self-sustaining pattern that revolves around an unresolved wound. So how do you break this emotional cycle? Not by avoiding people or suppressing emotions. You break it by staying conscious in the moment where you used to go into autopilot and shut down. The first step is recognizing the moment the cycle begins. When someone replies late to your message, what happens inside you? Does your heart race? Does your stomach turn? Do you immediately imagine the worst scenario? That moment, right there, that's when the cycle restarts. Most people at this point go into automatic response. They send message after message, act cold, withdraw, or show excessive interest. But you, stop there. When you feel that familiar panic, physically stop. Put down your phone. Breathe. Ask yourself, how much of this feeling is about the present moment, and how much is about the past? Often you'll realize that the intensity you're feeling is disproportionate to the moment itself. If someone replying 3 hours late takes you back to your childhood abandonment fear, that's a signal. The emotion isn't living in the present, it's living in the past. Ask yourself the right question: who am I being right now? This is a simple but revolutionary question. Are you responding as your current self, or are you repeating as your past self? Is your adult self speaking, or your 7-year-old child? Think of this example. Your partner says, "I want to be alone." Your inner child immediately screams, "They don't love me, they'll leave me, I'm not good enough." But your adult self knows that people sometimes need their own space, and this isn't about you. Choosing which voice to listen to is the difference between breaking the cycle and continuing it. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Awareness transforms fate into choice. One of the hardest parts of breaking the cycle is seeing the real need beneath your behavior. For instance, if you keep choosing people who are distant, on the surface it looks like, "I want someone who wants me." But when you go deeper, the real need might be, "I'm afraid of intimacy because intimacy means vulnerability. If I choose someone who stays distant, I never have to show my true fragility." Or if you're constantly drawn to people who need saving, maybe the real need is, "I need to feel valuable, and I can only feel that when I'm helping someone. If they don't need me, what good am I?" When you see the need, you can start meeting it in healthy ways instead of unhealthy ones. You don't have to save someone to feel valuable. You can feel valuable by adding value to your own life. The cycle has been spinning for years. It won't stop overnight. But it weakens with small moments of resistance. Resistance happens in these moments. When someone replies late, instead of sending panic messages, you wait an hour and write with a calm mind. When someone says, "I want to be alone," you say, "Okay, I understand," and give them space. Instead of running toward someone distant, you take a step back and feel that emptiness. When you feel the need to shower someone with excessive attention, you redirect that energy toward yourself. Every small act of resistance opens a new neural pathway in your brain. Your brain learns, "Wait, we used to do it that way, but we don't anymore. There's a new way." The first time will feel terrible. The second time, a bit easier. By the 10th time, it'll already be your new normal. One of Jung's deepest teachings: you don't reject your shadow, you dialogue with it. Your shadow, your jealousy, your lack of control, your fear, your anger, is trying to tell you something. If you silence it, it will speak through other ways, louder. Wrong relationships, destructive behaviors, repeating dramas. Instead, sit down and talk to your shadow. If you're feeling jealous, ask it, "What are you trying to tell me? What do you think is missing?" Maybe the answer will be, "You don't see your own worth, you're seeing someone else's." Then your work is clear, valuing yourself. If you're feeling out of control, ask, "What are you afraid of?" Maybe the answer is, "If everything slips from my hands, I'll be nothing." Then your work is learning that you still exist, even when you let go of control. It won't happen overnight. Growth is quiet, subtle. It happens the first time you don't chase the unavailable. The first time you let someone leave without begging them to stay. The first time you choose honesty over performance. The first time you say, "I see what this is, and I choose differently." That's how cycles end, not with revenge or closure from someone else, but with self-awareness. And maybe one day you'll look back at the people who hurt you and feel something unexpected. Gratitude, not for the pain, but for the mirror. They showed you where you were still unfinished. They revealed your capacity to feel, to break, to rebuild. They brought you closer to yourself, even if they never knew it. Because in a way, every soul that enters your life leaves fingerprints on your consciousness. Some stay to hold your hand, others stay only long enough to turn you inward. Both are gifts. Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Every connection changes you. The question is, does it transform you into who you were or who you're meant to become? So maybe the people we attract aren't random at all. Maybe they're necessary. Maybe they are the soul's chosen mirrors, the ones who help us see what's been hiding beneath the surface. When you begin to view life that way, the repetition stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like evolution. The same story, told with more consciousness each time. The same theme, played with greater awareness. Eventually, what used to break you becomes what builds you. Now ask yourself, who keeps showing up in your story? Not by name, but by pattern. Is it the one who doesn't listen? The one who leaves? The one who needs saving? Or maybe the one who never truly sees you? What if they've all been the same teacher, wearing different faces? What if every encounter has been preparing you to finally meet the only person who can change the cycle? You. I want you to sit with that for a while. Don't rush to fix it. Just notice it. Notice what kind of energy you invite, what kind of love you chase, what kind of silence you tolerate. Notice the version of yourself that keeps choosing. That awareness alone begins to shift everything. And when you're ready, I'd love to hear your story. Share it in the comments, not the drama, not the gossip, but the realization. Tell me what you've learned about yourself through the people you've met. Maybe your story will help someone else see their own. Maybe your awareness will be the mirror someone else needs. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Reflection. We meet, we mirror, we learn, and we grow. We are all walking each other home.